people get so busy on their marketing and putting structures in place and, doing quote all the things you should be doing. And the key is talking to people. Before you have all those structures put in place, before your websites, before all those things, you need to actually develop the coaching skills and actually make a difference for people first. Bring in the income first.
Welcome to Success Leaves Clues, the podcast where we interview business owners on how they built their businesses and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is David Swin, and I'm a business coach and the founder of Purposeful, where we help business owners achieve their first 6-figure, 7-figure, and 8-figure year, all without sacrificing their quality of life. Before becoming a business coach and before founding Purposeful, I started and scaled several 7- and 8-figure coaching businesses and have been a consultant at several businesses doing over $100 million each, including some that are publicly listed and doing over $1 billion each. In every episode of the podcast, you're going to learn lessons that took our guests years to learn, and you'll be able to learn that in minutes. No matter if you're a new business owner or an established business owner, every episode is going to give you the clues in order to elevate your business.
Welcome to Success Leaves Clues podcast. I'm Pedro, and today I'm joined by Jolynne Anderson, who specializes in leadership, mindset, and executive coaching, supporting companies and individuals to ensure their thinking and culture are conducive to the future they want to build. Jolynne has worked with leaders from powerhouse organizations, including United Nations, Microsoft, Amazon, Nike, plus nonprofits and startups across the spectrum. Jolynne serves as a program leader with accomplishment coaching and holds the professional certified coach credential from the ICF, bringing both institutional knowledge and individual expertise to her practice. Her focus on aligning organizational thinking with future vision helps leaders create sustainable transformation that goes beyond surface level changes to fundamentally shift how teams operate and grow. Welcome to the show, Jolynne.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Okay. I'll put it simply blunt and, like that. And by the way, I'm a comic book nerd myself. Okay. Which means I love the first edition, the origin story. Okay. So, every coach has that moment, if you rewind a bit, where they look at their life and say, yeah, I guess this is what I'm doing now. Right.
Right.
I know it has been 18 years, but when was that for? And can you walk me through it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. During that season of my life where I was doing everything right, for everyone else, and I completely lost myself in the process. So I ended up hiring an ontological coach, which was a complete game changer for me. The transformation I saw in myself, I was like, oh, yes, I actually want to take the big leap, leave my organization, and make a difference for other people. I think I shared before when we were talking, I went from having this huge health crisis, and it was so bad that I was showing up at work with an IV bag. And working with my coach, really getting clear about who I am and what I wanted and my own, integrity, supported a lot of things. It helped me reinvent my marriage. It gave me a better relationship with my teenager. I started to live life on my terms versus what everybody else wanted me to do. It was inspiration for me. And now I get to be unapologetically me. And then I get to work with other people to be unapologetic. Just fully them in the world.
Okay, I love how you're putting things in perspective for me. I'll put it simply like that. First of all, going to work with an IV bag. Come on. I'm like
I
thinking,
know.
oh my God, I work so hard. Well, I don't really. I'm just looking at you. I'm like, holy moly,
Yeah.
she can work hard. I mean, not in a good way. We
Right.
all know that, but
Exactly.
it put things in perspective, right? Of what
Yeah.
you're capable of. The good
Yeah.
thing is that you shifted that from helping others to helping
Oh.
yourself, right? That's one
Yeah.
thing that it's important. Now, I really like when we see the identity shift from, from the coach, because it starts with I'm helping people, right? It
Mhm.
sounds like it's a calling to I'm building a real business around this. This is a coaching practice. I'm going to start charging people. So,
Yes.
how did that play out for you? When did you realize that shift happened? Was it the first paying client, the first invoice? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How did that look like for you?
Well, obviously, my very first client, well, not obviously, but I'll say, I did pro bono because I was like, I'm not good enough to coach people. So, first, I took on clients pro bono. It didn't take long to switch from pro bono to actual paying clients. And that first moment of getting out of my own value and worth, like wondering, can I do this, to I can do this. I do provide value, and charging, and then, going from there. I don't know if that answers your question, but there was an evolution in my own, as a coach, from the question, do I add value, to, oh, hell yes, I add value.
Mm. I think you answered yes, and there's one thing I want to jump right out on that, right on that boat, which is basically I had coaches telling me they were like, I was doing pro bono, but people no showed,
Yes.
people were not putting in the work, and that
Yeah.
backfired on them because they felt worthless.
Right.
Um, do you
Well,
felt like that in the pro bono area? Like, how did that play out for you?
yes, yeah. So I only did it once, because I knew that if somebody didn't have skin in the game, they did not show up. It was not a value to them. And so I learned that pretty quickly. I was like, oh, now in my practice, I do usually have one pro bono in my practice right now. I mean, I have a healthy practice, but that's just something that I do as a volunteer for nonprofits and things like that. But it is the value. People will tie the value of the coaching to the number that you charge. And that I learned pretty quickly.
I love the meme. It's like there's a sidewalk with a fridge. Take it free, right? And then
Yes.
a week goes by, nothing happens, and then someone puts a price tag, $50, and it vanishes the other day, right? So
Yeah.
the lesson is perception of value. People tend to connect free work to worthless. That's the problem. And I saw a lot of coaches undermining themselves because they
Yeah.
were doing the same, right? Oh, if people don't want to do this for free, how can I charge someone for it? You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, for sure. And luckily, I had a coach while I was building my coaching business. And so we were able to really, look at where that was coming from right from the beginning, and how I was thinking about it. So I'm a high advocate for having a coach when you're building your business.
Right. Okay. Good reminder. FYI. Now, after you got rolling, who are the people that kept showing up? Especially in the early days for coaching, sometimes we're trying to help everyone, every living soul. But eventually, I'm not sure if you got that there eventually. Did you find your own tribe? These are the people I can work best with. And who are they?
Yeah, over time it obviously evolved. So I was in corporation organization, and I swung to the opposite, because I was like, I don't want to deal with corporation. I don't want to deal with people. I want to actually work with entrepreneurs and people that were, getting started in their businesses. So those are the people that started showing up for me. It was the startup people, because I had taken a big leap away from, corporate job, to being an entrepreneur. So that started attracting like, oh, if she could do it, oh, I'm going to hire her to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
Yeah,
let's
and that's what I
pretend.
find with
Uh-huh.
wherever you're at, you usually attract those people. So you need to keep evolving to you attract who you are. And so you continue to evolve from there.
Okay. Yeah, it's not like you're the same person you were 18 years ago. So you keep evolving, and the
Yeah.
people you're attracting are always in that same cycle. That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Now, let's pretend I'm your avatar. I'm a potential client, right? I'm that guy. I'm a startup, business owner and all that. Now, first of all, how would I be able to find you marketing wise?
Ah, well, I don't do a lot of marketing. So I am on LinkedIn, and that's about it. The only way to find me is probably by people that have experienced me. Not, I wouldn't recommend that totally. I will be doing a lot more marketing here coming forward, because I know a lot of people are like, social media, get out there,
Mhm.
get your name out there. I'm a relationship person, and that's kind of the business that I'm in, and so that's where I absolutely stayed, was in referrals and people referring to me. So that's it. I'm on
Okay.
LinkedIn, and that's the marketing that I have right now.
Okay, so LinkedIn and referrals, right? And
Uh-huh.
FYI, that's super classic for the coaching, the referrals. Okay, so you're preaching to the choir here. Okay, no blame, no judgment there. Best of the best, right? It tends to be eventually hard to predict, but that's part of it. Okay. Now I'm still your ICP, right? In this scenario, and someone told me to work with you. They're like, you gotta meet her, right? And we talked. Let's speed up the sales process here. Let's say there's alignment. Okay. Let's put it
Okay.
simply like that. We're going to work together. So, what I want you to do is walk me through how does it look like to work with you, the potential outcomes I can expect out of it. And if you have like multiple offers, just pick the main one just to have an idea. Okay.
Right. Right. So the main one is one-on-one coaching. And so we get really clear about where you're at and where you want to be, and why you want to be there. Like, I'm always listening for, is this from the ego, or is this actually from your soul, your life purpose? And so I coach people there first before we even start to the objectives. And so what I really want to find out is, who you are, what's your purpose here, and who do you serve? So those are kind of my first things. The people that I get in are really high achieving people, and they just want to get to the goal. And I say, we're not getting there yet. You're going to have to trust me and the process. Trust me, we will get there. But first, we've got to figure out who you are, where you're coming from. And is this really your destiny? Like, is this the place you really want to be?
Okay. Now I'm that guy. I'm that guy. There is alignment. Don't exclude me already, okay? But I'm bringing up some friction right now. I'm like, okay, Jolynne, why can't I just go to the goal? I mean, what's up with who I want to be? I'm trying to wrap my head around it, right? I'm the classic
Yeah.
client. I'm your first coaching exposure. Let's say it like this. I never did coaching. I'm like, but what do you mean with who I am? I mean, I'm
Right.
unsure. How would I
Mm-hmm.
navigate that?
Yeah. Well, what I say is, we're going to get to the goal, and then you're still going to be empty. You're still going to wonder, is this enough? Is this where I'm supposed to be? And why don't we just start first with the what you're here for? Because if you get there, you pay all this money, and you get there and then you're still like, oh, well, is that really where I wanted to be?
So basically, you want to find out, right? If I'm trying to make more money to buy a bigger house than my neighbor because he does have one, it sounds like that's the right way of doing things. Something like
Yeah.
that, like playing someone else's agenda or something, like trying to insert in myself because I'm comparing myself to others, and you're trying to get to the real bottom of it, the root cause of why am I
Yes.
doing this thing. I got that
Right.
right?
And it still may be the goal of the big house and the goal of the Ferrari and the goal of whatever they say the goal is. But we want to make sure that truly is the goal. That's from the lifestyle that they want and what they're like. They're going to know when I'm coaching them, there's going to be these aha moments of absolutely this is what I want, outside of keeping up with the Joneses, outside of the ego, outside of the worldly materialistic things. It's really living a life that's on purpose. And I mean, I've got the big house, I've got, all the things, the luxuries that I want. But it's from a different place. It's not from the the riches. Oh, let me show the neighbors what I have.
Mm. And have you ever had clients that were like, yeah, I love my family, I love my work, and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, so how much time do we spend with your family? I'm like, oh, yeah, I mean, 1-2 hours like daily. But I work like 10, and I work because I love them, that type of mentality. And when
Yes.
you're like discussing real goals, it sounds like you don't really love your family because you spend most of the time working, and they're actually pretty comfortable already. So why are you doing this type of thing? Why are you working 10, 11 hours a day? You know
Right.
what I mean? Have you ever had something like that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. One of my clients, he was out of Dallas, and he called me specifically for, I need to get my profits up in my business, and I need to fire my team and get a new team in because they're not doing profits. I was like, oh, okay, well, let's really look at all this. I coached him on what was happening in his world, and I found out that he actually was going through a divorce.
Mm.
Yeah. And the divorce was, and he didn't realize this. He thought he was covering up really well, but he was not a happy camper at work. He was showing up being kind of not happy, aggressive. People in his work environment were saying, I'm not working for this guy. He's here 14 hours a day. I'm not going to be here 14 hours a day. So there was a lot of things happening in his world that had him coming across as arrogant, rude. Why aren't you doing what you're doing? And he honestly, in his mind, did not realize he was coming from that place. So fast forward 6 months, he really got his impact, and he showed up on the call and said, hey, my wife is seeing me shift. I'm wondering if you could coach me and my wife. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's talk about that. Anyway, long story short, I referred her to another coach. I did coach the two of them for a little bit, and they currently are not divorced. They are back together. His profits went up 30%, and I still get messages from his coworkers, the people that worked for him, thanking me for the shift and change that he is.
Wow. At the end of the day, you end up coaching the whole person, right? Not just the
Yeah,
business,
right. Right.
right? It's like it's sell them what they want, give them what they need. That's the
Yes.
saying, right? So
Yeah.
they come in because they want to improve the team or whatever, bottom line profitability, and they stop sleeping in the couch, basically.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I won't even mention the resistance he had. when I told them, hey, we'll get to what you're talking about, but we actually need to get to what's really happening.
Mm, okay. I mean, shifting gears for a second, I'm going to
Sure.
throw you the first curveball. Wait for it. Okay.
Okay.
Here it comes. In the coaching space, I see a lot of coaches out there. Sometimes they advocate against burnout. I mean, you had a terrible case of burning out. I'm going to work with an IV bag. You told me that yourself. So, coaches do sometimes burn out themselves because they're wearing a lot of hats. We're talking about marketing, sales, on delivery, right? Business development overall, and all that. So, how do you think about capacity? So, don't stretch yourselves too thin again.
How do I think about capacity? Well, you can't do it alone. I think you've got to expand outside of yourself. The capacity means when you get burnout. Here's how I think about burnout. Burnout's like a crock pot that's been turned on, up to high, and you know how it kind of starts warm, and then it goes, and then all of a sudden, 6 hours later, it's boiling. So you got to know when you're getting warm and hot, and when your capacity needs to be expanded. And when that happens, you've got to look around and be like, okay, who can do the things that I no longer love or can do way better and they love it, where I don't have to be the one that does all the hats. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I internally know when my body is like, "Ooh, I'm reaching my capacity. I've got to do something different."
I think you answered. Well, first of all, we need support, right? We can't do everything by ourselves. That's one. Second is start noticing the patterns, right? In yourself. Look within. I have a different problem personally. I really like what I do. So I am a podcast host talking with coaches all day. And I'm also a coach, right? So my problem is kind of different because I was like, when I worked at corporate banking, consulting firms, when I clocked out, right? I was like, sayonara, everyone, I'm gone. But when you have your own business, and sometimes when you really like what you do, it's the other way around. It's like it doesn't really feel like work. So you're doing it, and whenever you're looking at it, like, oh, 9 hours went by and I'm still working. 10 hours went by and I'm still working. It doesn't feel like work, And I see a lot of coaches out there that they are also so passionate about, and they feel the same, right?
Yeah.
Did you, by any chance, have noticed something like that in you or in other coaches?
Yeah. Well, I do work hard, but I also play hard. So the in a year calendar, there are months that have 5 weeks in a month. Those 5 weeks in the month, I always take the last week off. That's a built-in, and they happen about 4 times a year, 5 times a year. I take the month of August off, and I take the last 2 weeks of December and the first week of January off. So I kind of put it upside down, and I build my life on what am I doing? What do I want in the play area? And then I build my business in it. I didn't start that way.
Right. But
you
set the boundaries now. You set the boundaries, and there is intention towards it also.
But here's the cool part is, so I love to travel. So that's one of the reasons why I got into the industry, is when I'm traveling, I am at one of my blissful, happiest moments. And I actually end up getting clients traveling. But I'm on vacation, right? I don't sit there and try to sell them or do anything weird. I just say, hey, let's exchange phone numbers, and when I get back home, we can talk with each other. Right. And so it actually builds my business by me going out and enjoying my life.
That's wild. It's like It's the at the end of the day. I'm not sure if you agree with it, but it's like it's the energy, right? If you have that needy energy and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna close these people. I'm gonna sell them," that that turns people off.
Oh,
Do you agree?
yeah,
Really? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm here to serve people. I'm not here to sell people.
Okay,
And I've
I
got
like
some, I got a lot to offer, and people are either in the mindset and ready to do it or they're not. So that's that's where I come from.
Okay, interesting. Now, I'm curious about future, where you're taking all this, looking ahead a bit. Where do you see the business going? Are you thinking about scaling, hiring? Is there a next step you're excited about?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So we've established, I've been in the industry for a while. One thing that I've learned is how alone people are feeling. So my next chapter is building the New Horizon Network, is what I've called it. Yeah, it's a community where leaders and coaches, they don't have to figure things out on their own, and they don't have to do it alone. So it's going to be a goal of reaching leaders who normally can't afford one-on-one coaching and create a space where they can transform and come together and come alive. So it's yeah, that's what I'm excited about next.
A group setting offer. I love that,
Mm.
and whenever we're aiming towards something new, always something we're refining in the present, right? So
Yeah.
what are you currently trying to improve or tighten up in your business? I'm not sure if that's tied up with the new offer you're building, but just overall.
Yeah. Well, it's a balance, right? So I've got a thriving business that, so I'm talking about the work I'm doing with my clients. So I've got to be disciplined. I've got to be able to know when I'm working in my business and when I'm working on my business, and balancing both of those. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to work 12-hour days. But what I'm looking at when I'm working those long days is, how is my energy? If I'm dragging on the 10th, 11th hour, I'm done. Like, I know that I'm not going to be creating, doing anything well if I'm in balance, or off balance, I guess is the right word. So for me, it's being disciplined, having the grit to, do what I say I'm going to do, and then have structures around me to make sure I'm accountable.
Mm, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I want to tap into your experience for a second. I mean, we, as you said, established you're 18 years in the game, and people listening can really benefit from this. Okay. And what I'm curious is, like, you were able to the entire journey to hear all kinds of business advice. Some are
Yes.
good, some are terrible. So a lot of noise out there, simply put like that. Now, what's one piece of business advice you hear all the time, that you think is overrated or misunderstood?
It's one piece of business advice that's overrated. That's the question.
Hmm.
Okay. This is might be a little controversial, but
Ah,
people
finally.
get people get so busy on their marketing and putting structures in place, and doing, quote, all the things you should be doing, and the key is talking to people. Before you have all those structures put in place, before your websites, before all those things, you need to actually develop the coaching skills and actually make a difference for people first. Bring in the income first. A lot of people will go into some major debt to do all these structures and these systems and that kind of thing. And I'm like, just sit down and coach with people. Stop all the loudness.
Right? It's like
Yes.
sometimes it feels like it's backwards, right? It's a lot of
Yes.
stuff to talk with people, and they have someone sitting there right beside them that it's like, I don't know, a CEO or ICP in a birthday party, and they're like not talking
Exactly.
with them, and they're like, hey man, that was just like your ICP. Not that you need to sell, it's just talking like a human being, right?
Right.
And they're like thinking about leads and conversion rates, and like, dude, just
Yes.
connect with a human being, right? Something like that.
That's all there is to do.
Right? Okay. Now, it's wild. It is just like that. That is so true. Now, on the other side, what's a piece of advice you wish more people actually took seriously?
Oh, geez. Okay. The first thing I would say is have what I call grit.
Mm.
And I wish I would have known this right at the beginning of my, very beginning of my career, but it came a little bit later and it's so true. So I think of the acronym GRIT. So the G is have guts to ask people around you who they know that might want coaching. Like just have the guts to ask. The R is resilience. The resilience is you're going to get a heck of a lot of no's. So you better build up your tolerance to keep going and go to the next one. Like handle how you feel being, quote, rejected. It's just not now, is how I look at it. It's a whole different relationship to getting no's. To me, the no's, a lot of them they come back later. They just weren't ready then. The I is take initiative to go after the people that you really want to make a difference with, even if you think it's out of your ball game. About 5 years into my business, I went after people in sports. I wanted to get people that were in, like football, baseball, golf. I don't know how to play football. I don't know how to play golf. But what I did know how to do is how to get them to focus and be at the best of their game and be focused. Normally, I would not have taken the initiative to go after them, but I did. I was with sports folks for a long time. The last one is T, the tenacity. To build a coaching business is not for the faint of hearts. And honestly, this grit still applies today for me. The method has evolved, but my mindset never changes. The grit mindset. You've got to have that to build a business.
Yeah, I love that. Those are great reminders. And if someone listening wants to connect with you or follow your work, and by the way, we're going to have all the links in the description, okay, Jolynne?
Oh,
But
sure.
where can people find you and connect with you best? The fastest way to connect with you.
Fastest way. Let's see. Well, they could call me. I'm back to the basics. Even the younger generation want to text. They could text me. My number. Do you want me just to say my number here, or?
Whatever you feel like it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
you have the spotlight.
It's 360-791-6131. I'm in the United States, so it's 01 first. That would be the quickest. Tell me who you are, what you're interested in creating. And what I do is I end up having an interview with people to see if we're a good fit. I have a lot of people in my community that are coaches. So if I'm not, if they're not ready for me and I'm not the best fit, I have lots of people that I can refer them to.
Okay. There were a few things you shared today that really stayed with me. Okay. First one, when you were talking about the origin story and you're like, you were doing everything right to everyone else. I think that was the quote, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Carrying your IV bag in the work. Oh my God. I'm like, yeah. And then you start focusing on big shift. And I really like how after 18 years, how real you are. You're like connecting with people first. It's not just like tactics or whatever that looks like. It's just like being real, and having that, going through what you went through, it's just, it makes a lot of sense. I'll put it simply like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Then also, When we were talking about your ICP, and we were discussing about the real intention behind what you want and what you want to do, right? So
Mhm.
that is like the foundation of your coaching practice, which is like, what is your why? And let's peel it off that onion so we can understand where you want to go, right?
Right.
And there is potentially some friction with clients, and you're like setting up boundaries because just trust the process. So great reminder, really like that. The "how is my energy" quote, I'm gonna steal that. I gotta take a look at inside a little bit more. I've been stretching up myself a little bit sometimes, gotta spend
Yeah.
more time with the family, so I appreciate the reminder. And last but not least, I would say the grit. You mentioned that
Mhm.
it start with guts, then we go to resilience, initiative, if I'm not mistaken, tenacity.
Right.
I'm gonna pick the resilience, which is, you mentioned rejection, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of coaches, they went through that process, like that challenge. And I am a coach myself, but I don't feel like I struggle with that. But the point is, they feel rejected themselves when they should be understanding. Not sure if you agree with me, that the offer is being rejected, not necessarily them. So I think they take it into a personal level. It's like you mentioned, maybe the person is not ready. You
Right.
know, maybe it's not for them, and that it's totally okay.
Right.
So Jolynne, this is just my long-winded way of saying that I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate you being here and sharing so openly today. Okay, it
Yeah.
was great
Thank you
having
for
you on.
having me. Yes, I appreciate it.
That's it for this episode. This episode, as well as this podcast, was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help business owners elevate their business to 6, 7, and 8-figure years, all without burning out. If you're looking to grow your business, as well as get the time freedom that you are looking for, visit us at joinpurplecircle.com and see what we can do to help you and your business.